Ring the alarm, ring the alarm, ring the alarm. This is MNV Uncut with Empress Ishay. Today, we're going to break into a story that is much stranger than fiction, which is the Diddy case that's going on as it's being played out right now. I'm going to try to give as much info as possible on this case as it is ongoing, but we hearing some crazy shit already. The music mogul known as Sean Diddy Combs or Puff Daddy, whatever you know him as, is facing federal charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, which he has pleaded not guilty to all of those, of course. The trial began with a testimony from a male escort alleging that he's been paid on several occasions to have sex with Cassie while Diddy watched over in the corner like a little creep.
Male escort gets on the stand, right? Black male escort. Yes, he's a black man. He's like probably like 5'7", really stocky, like, you know, muscle. Like, oh, he must be like a dancer or something. Oh, no. Charlamagne's body could never. So his boss came to him one day and said, look, I have this couple who wants to do something for the wife. It's a bachelorette party. They need a male stripper. They didn't have a male stripper, so he went. He shows up in an NYPD t-shirt and he says, Cassie opens the door. She's in red lingerie. She's in a wig, dark glasses, and pumps. And she's like, listen, your boss told me that I'm supposed to give you $200. And this is what he's alleging. And instead, she gives him $4,000. She's like, I want to explain to you what's about to happen. So this is not a bachelorette party. My husband likes to do special things for me. He wanted to do this for my birthday. He just wants us to like rub baby oil on each other and, you know, just kind of like get familiar with each other. And whatever happens from there, if you're comfortable, I'm open to it. So he's like, okay. He walks in and he alleges that Puff was there sitting in the room, but you couldn't tell it was him because he had a bandana tied around his face and he had a hat on and he was sitting in the corner. That him and Cassie had sex on the couch in that hotel allegedly, and that the whole time Puff sat in the corner and Puff never got involved, but he was telling them what to do at different times.
That's how we know he don't make beats.
Cassie told him, like, you have nothing to worry about. My husband is not gay. He's not going to touch you. He's not going to whatever. He just, you know, he might tell us what to do or whatever, but he's not going to be, it's just going to be us doing the physical things. He said that they linked up a lot more times after that. He went to Cassie's house. They got comfortable with him. He came to Cassie's house. When he was there, Cassie and Diddy was in the room. He was outside in the living room. Diddy comes out and goes off on Cassie, like allegedly beats her up bad because she took a long time to come back in the room to him. And he said after he saw that was his first time seeing her get physically like touched. He couldn't even engage in sexual activity with the two of them. And they haven't gotten to cross-examine him yet. Like Diddy's team started and then they had to stop.
What about the urination?
The urination thing. They were asking him, what are some of the things you would have to do? He said, well, one time Cassie asked me to, you know, urinate.
On her,
on her.
What in the R. Kelly reincarnated are we hearing right now?
15 minutes before that, the prosecutors were like, Cassie is going to tell you that Diddy allegedly made this escort urinate on her. That there's an escort sitting in front of us, sworn in on the stand saying, no, Cassie told me to do that.
And I hope her husband isn't hearing anything he didn't already know. If not, that gonna make for some very awkward moments at home.
Because he had left. He was in the back of the court and then he went, I think they took up to like a back room.
Tuesday and Wednesday, Cassie took the stand describing her relationship with Diddy and giving some of the details of their experiences pretty explicitly. So she talked about all of the years of abuse and the different abusive situations that happened and some drug-induced activities that she took part in throughout the 10 years of their relationship. However, some parts of the testimony now are looking like there might be a little bit more to look into as it relates to her part into some of these things and the credibility of some of the stories that are being told.
Y'all, the way that Cassie was looking on that thing yesterday, first of all, they debunked so many different things, just speaking to her credibility, right? Like not getting into like the forest and all that yet, right? Just speaking to her credibility. Y'all know on the stand the day before she told that story about Suge Knight and Puff and D-Rock allegedly grabbing guns and going to run into Suge Knight at Mel's Diner. According to the defense team and the interview that Cassie did with the prosecutors before she got on the stand, like in the beginning of the investigations, that story was completely not true. And there was so many moments like that where
that's why you shouldn't try to remember nothing when you was on drugs.
She said a lot yesterday and the day before that about how much they were using drugs. So some things may be a little hazy for her. There was a time in 2017 where things were like super, super hazy, right? And she on the stand said, I really don't remember much from this time because there was something else that they were talking to her about and it was just all over the place and she wasn't sounding like she was telling the truth. So they're talking to her about the drug use, and the day before, remember I told you guys, they were asking her about the drug use and asking her how she would resupply on drugs. Like, who gave her the drug dealer's contacts and stuff like that. And she said, Diddy. And when she said that, I watched Diddy in court look at her like, girl, what? Yesterday on the stand, they said, okay, so let's talk about your drug use, right? Because is it or is it not true that, you know, both of you guys were using drugs, but like Diddy was still able to run multiple businesses and like ran down a list of everything he was doing. He was more functioning. And she was like, yeah, I mean, you could say that. And then they go into having a conversation about the fact that at one point in time, Puff was calling drug dealers and telling them to stop serving Cassie because she was so bad off. Like she was worse off on drugs than he was. And Cassie admitted that that was happening. The day before that, though, they painted it as if she was like lost in this whole like drug abuse thing that was caused and spiraled out by Puff. Yesterday, the conversation was, no, you were making choices on your own, to the point where he was even having to intervene with some of her friends because he didn't like how much drugs she was doing. He was trying to like protect the way that they were doing. Like they were doing their things, but he was trying to make sure that it was, from what they're alleging, that it was a lot more safe. She was having a bit of a harder time from what it seemed like, to the point where he was encouraging her to go to rehab.
Diddy's defense team is saying basically he should not be persecuted for his sexual choices. So the freak offs is something completely different. If you're going to convict him of anything, yeah, domestic violence. But at the end of the day, I mean, can you get mad at a man for being freaky? So this is from what his defense team had to say in the courtroom.
Statement. Tenny Garajos has taken the podium. Sean Combs is a complicated man, but this is not a complicated case. This case is about love, jealousy, infidelity, and money. This case is about voluntary adult choices made by capable adults in consensual relationships. Garajos says this is about his private personal sex life, which has nothing to do with lawful businesses. The people who will take the stand will say they knew nothing about any enterprise. That's because these hardworking individuals were doing their jobs, running his businesses. Garajos said in an opening statement that while Combs takes full responsibility for the acts of domestic violence in this case, domestic violence is not sex trafficking. Combs has a temper, and when he drank and took the wrong drugs, he got violent. My client is not proud of that. Sean Combs has a bad temper. Sometimes he gets angry or jealous. He sometimes gets out of control. You may know of his love of baby oil. Is that a federal crime? No. Last year, law enforcement seized, including drugs and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Garajos says Combs will be accountable for the things he did, but will fight for his freedom for the things he did not do. He says the evidence will show that Sean Diddy Combs was a very flawed individual, but will not show you racketeer, trafficker, or somebody transporting for prostitution. Hitting the things we're going to take responsibility for, it's simply because of jealous or drug use. Combs attorney to the jury, you are not here to judge him for sexual preferences. She says the events in the hotel rooms were part of a swinger's lifestyle, which she describes as a fancier term for a threesome. She brings up the 2016 hotel surveillance video of him beating up Cassie. The day, unfortunately, jealousy was on full display. I know that Combs had taken bad drugs. What Combs did to Cassie on video is indefensible, it's horrible, it's dehumanizing, it's violent, it's virtually every bad word you can think of. It's not evidence of sex trafficking. It's not justifying the assault, not by a long shot, but I'm putting it in proper context. Ventura remained in a relationship with Combs for years. Cassie Ventura saw a gossip site of Sean Diddy Combs walking out of a hotel room with another woman and decided to end things. So he was cheating. She made a choice every single day for years, a choice to stay with him, a choice to fight for him because of 11 years, that was the better choice. That was her preferred choice. So she made the choice to stay with him until one day she decided she was going to break up with him because that was her preferred choice. The videos of the freak offs are intimate and jurors may find them hard to watch, but they argue they are strong evidence that the events were consensual and not based on coercion.
Pretty wild, right? You almost forget that we're talking about a domestic violence situation and a relationship that may not have been so consensual. However, there's been some text messages that have been released between Cassie and Diddy by his defense team that are leaving opinions very split on this matter. The text messages would seem to outline some of Cassie's own participation in these freak off moments that may have been made in court to look a little bit like forced situations. So this kind of is changing people's opinions on some levels to try to say, what version of the truth is the truth here? Some are saying this proves her consent and even participation in some of the things that Diddy did, while others are saying the text proved nothing. This is just a woman under the influence and under a great amount of fear and afraid for her life. So a woman afraid for her life might just go along with anything just to stay safe. Who knows which one of those are the truth, but there's still so much more to come as it relates to this case and updates coming in every minute. So everybody, leave your opinions in the comments below so you can let me know what you think as it relates to this case, because all of this shit is getting wild and there's still a lot more to see what's going to happen with this Diddy case. Go ahead and leave my social media information right here like I always do so that you guys can go ahead and tell me what y'all think. I want y'all to check out all the other posts posts and things that I have on those pages, and let me know what y'all think about those too. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and put my YouTube information right here as well, so y'all can go ahead and subscribe to my channel and check out all the other videos that I have on there, and also be privy anytime that I do post another video. But in the meantime, in between time,